Hi friends, welcome back to Julia in the Garden. Today I'm talking about seeds, in particular fruit and vegetable seeds that I'm going to be growing for my potager this year. So I hope you're ready to talk about it too. I have my garden journal now. I've been working on setting this up, so I will link those videos here. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn to my fruit and vegetable page. And this will help me make sure that I cover all of the fruit and vegetables I want to cover. And I also have my box of seeds. So what I thought we would do is I'd go through my seeds with you. We'll go through each type of fruit or vegetable I want to grow and what varieties I have. And then as we go, I will make some notes in my garden journal. As I mentioned in a recent video, I am changing up the layout of my potager over the next few years. I will be expanding it and it should have more raised beds, but also more market garden space as well. And so I'll be doing that in phases. But because of that this year, my space will be a little bit more limited, especially later in the year. So I will mention that as we go. I want to do a separate video on those specific plans. I'm going to start with beans. So I'm keeping it pretty simple this year with beans. My plan is to grow one bush variety and one climbing or runner variety. So for bush, I'm gonna go green beans, and they are the jade variety. They are pretty fast growing. They're 55 days to maturity. So I'll be getting them direct sown in a raised bed as soon as I can, and then I might do them in a separate location later on in the year. The raised beds in the back I'm hoping just to use for spring crops so that I can then pull them out midsummer to tarp and or cover crop the back section to make a market garden bed. But I feel like these are fast enough that they can be used back there. And I like this variety. I think this will be my third year growing this type, and they're just a really good green bean. And then for climbing beans, I'm going to be growing black coat runner beans. Now, I had a beautiful seed packet from Baker Creek Seeds for this, but I've since used them all up, and now I have a few that I saved for myself here, but I also have this jar that I just decided I'm gonna save to plant a bunch more seeds this year. So they'll be planted on my branch structure in the potager, and I might also sneak them. We'll see if there's any other places I can kind of sneak some beans around the property. They have really pretty red flowers, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. And the beans themselves are pretty thick, so you could get a pretty good meal out of these. You can just cook them down. I am not sure about brassicas this year, but I always find room for kale, which is technically a brassica. So I have just my few favorite varieties here. The Nero de Toscana, which is also like dinosaur kale, is one of my favorites. So I will definitely be finding a place for that somewhere. I gotta look and see. And it can just be snuck into a bed wherever. And then also the scarlet kale and the blue curled Scotch kale are also favorites of mine. So, and really, I mean, maybe like 2 of these plants and 1 of each of these is probably sufficient, especially if I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm not planning on growing any broccoli or cauliflower or Brussels sprouts this year, but I may grow some cabbages. It would be nice to be able to make some sauerkraut, and we like to roast cabbage. And so if I do, I'm just gonna stick to what I have for seeds. So I've got some Gloria Van Koosen. This seed packet has lasted me a very long time. And it's like a good green cabbage. And then I also have this Red Express, and these do grow faster, so that's kind of nice. They're the red cabbage, so they taste, I feel like the red and the green cabbage taste very different to me. So I'd use them in different applications. So this is, I mainly just roast this. Yeah, or if you want to do like pickled cabbage, this is the kind I would use. I will definitely be growing some roots. So I haven't for the last couple of years, but I'm thinking like I have a hankering to grow radish again. So I'm going to be growing these day 18 jours. It's like I can do it, hang on. 18 jours in French. Sorry, I've been learning French, so indulge me for a minute. Yeah, so they're really fast. That means 18 days. So it's a really fast growing radish. I did grow them, I think, the very first year I had my garden here, and it was very exciting. I think they were the very first crop I harvested. So yeah, I'm gonna try these again. And if you have any recipes and ways you like to eat them, that's kind of where I struggled. We weren't eating them as much. So, but I feel like trying again. And they grow really fast, so I can they might even grow before I can put another crop in. So there we go, radishes. Rutabaga, I always grow rutabaga. This is a Joan rutabaga. They're also known as yellow turnips. I've grown I forget the other variety I've grown, maybe Eleanor or Helen or something like that. And I honestly couldn't tell the difference. These are great. These are from High Mowing Organic Seeds, which is a local seed company to me, so I love that. Yeah, so I'm gonna be growing that again. I love growing carrots. My kids love eating carrots. They love picking carrots, so I'm gonna be growing more carrots again. I love growing the dragon carrots. They're the purple on the outside. Yeah, they're purple on the outside and orange on the inside. And my 4-year-old loves them, so I'll be growing them, and she might be growing them in her little garden too. And I may actually do a video about her. She really wants her own garden space this year, so I'm working on that for her birthday. So yeah, dragon carrots. And then I also have scarlet nantes, which I haven't grown this kind before, but it says bright red orange flesh with real carrot flavor, holds well in the ground, and is nearly coreless. So that sounded good to me. Root is 6 to 7 inches with blunted tips. And I found I do kind of like the blunted tips. So I'm gonna be growing those. These definitely have blunted tips. These are Napoli carrots, and these I grew either last year, this past season, I think it was the season before I grew them for the first time, and I really like them. So I got more of them. This is again from High Mowing Seeds. And then this one doesn't have a picture, unfortunately, but it's carnelian carrot, and what it says is it's uniform pink roots with beautiful tapered shape, smooth 6 to 7 inch roots with blunt to rounded tips, and an attractive slender taper. Excellent roasted with bright carrot flavor. So that sounds yummy. So we're gonna be trying those. It's a new type for this year as well. Beets. So I have one child that likes eating beets, and so we don't have them super often. And when we do, we prefer, me and him will both eat them, and we'll prefer the gold beets. But I found that I have lots of family members on both mine and my husband's sides that really enjoy beets, and I really enjoy growing them. So I'm gonna be growing a bunch to give to family members, and we'll probably eat a few. I do have the golden beets. I have Ruby Queen, which is like a gorgeous, really dark beet. And I have, I'm gonna pronounce this the Italian way, Chioggia, which is like, has that cool stripy center. So I'll be growing those. And then new this year, I got Touchstone Gold Beet, also from High Mowing. And it's what it says, I'll read the back to you. It says, vibrant golden yellow flesh retains its color when cooked and is sweeter and more mild than red beets. Solid green tops are long and attractive and quickly shade out weeds. So these will all be direct sowed as well. I like to sow all of my roots kind of in the same location, although the radish will be earlier, so they might go in one of the back raised beds, but these will be in one of the raised beds in the front so that they have the whole season to grow, because I just kind of like to leave them and just let them get really big. And then I pick them and use them, and then when the season's at its end, I'll pull them all inside, so, or all that's left. So that's what I will be doing with those. Cucumber is another one where I'm just keeping it super simple this year. I'm just growing my favorite variety so far. Future years I might try others, but this is Silver Slicer cucumber. And I've gotten this from several different seed companies too, so you can look for it in several different places. It has, how do I describe it? It has like whitish, like a light green whitish skin that's like really thin. It doesn't get that like really thick skin on it. And then it's like a normal cucumber. It also, I found that it gets really big before it gets bitter. Like it doesn't get bitter super fast. So I really like that because I'm not always on top of picking my cucumbers during the year. And I've tried the pickling cucumbers before, but I never pick them at the right stage. And I found that I prefer when I make pickles to just like slice them anyway. So this is just the only kind I'm growing, and I will make pickles with them and we'll eat them. Yeah, we'll eat them as they are raw. So yeah, Silver Slicer cucumber. I gotta figure out where that's going in the garden though. I've got a couple different types of greens I'll be growing. So my favorite is arugula. I absolutely love it. And I love it, well, I love it both as like the baby, the little bit, and then when it gets a little bigger, it definitely gets like kind of more peppery or spicier as it gets bigger. I like it either way. My family prefers it smaller. So arugula will definitely be grown. I also have spinach, and these tend to kind of die back in the summer. So I'll probably do like an earlier spring crop and then maybe a later fall crop. Haven't even really, fall is a while away. Okay, I've got winter density lettuce. This is one of my favorite kinds of like head lettuce. I'm actually going to be starting some of this soon as well because I thought I would grow some to be like decorative heads for spring. It says 55 days to full maturity, so that could work. I've also got some like interesting greens. I've got mache, I think is how you say it. My husband and I always like it when this is like in a salad that we buy, so I thought I would grow it. Claytonia, and it's supposed to be like more succulent, like a thicker leaf, and pretty. It's really cold hardy, so like that. And then sorrel. There we go. So those are some greens I will be growing. In addition to, I don't think I have my chard in here. I already showed you my kale, and I do have chard somewhere in here, and so that will probably get grown as well. Peas are another great spring crop that I can grow in the raised beds in the back, and then they'll be done before I want to take them out. So I've got 2 different kinds of shelling peas. I won't grow as much as I did last year. I actually I didn't get more seeds, so I'll just grow what I have. I have tall telephone, and I have a green arrow. These get much taller than these do. I'm not sure exactly which ones I liked better, so I'm gonna try them again. And then I'll see, and then hopefully the following year I can grow more of whichever one I prefer. Then I also have snap peas because I love them. They are a garden snack and I love them so much. So I still have some of the Magnolia Blossom Snap Pea. I grew these both last year, and the Sugar Magnolia Snap Pea, and these are purple pot. So yeah, I'll be growing less than I did last year, but some of both of those. Peppers and eggplant. I'm gonna start with the eggplant. If you've watched these videos of mine before, I grow basically the same type of eggplant every year because I only grow a few and I still have the seeds. So maybe next year I'll get different seeds, but for right now, I've got a couple left of each, I think. So I've got Listada de Gandia and I've got Ping Tung. And these are both smaller ones. Like these are like, they get like this size. They're really pretty. And these are a little bit longer, but they're really skinny. Just they're faster growing than like the larger, darker kind of eggplant you think about. So we don't have a super long season. So I like to grow these and then I'll get more eggplants. Peppers, I'm gonna be growing up more this year. I'm gonna need some more space. My 4-year-old is just absolutely loves peppers, and she like will eat them for snacks and everything. So I want to grow more for her. So I did get these for her and grow some last year. These are the sparkle pepper and they're purple. And I think they're fun. She loves purple, but she actually didn't like the flavor of them as much. So I'm still probably gonna grow 1 or 2 plants, but we have those. So I also got some new ones. Well, okay. I also have this Crimson Carillion, which I also grew, which is good. And this Habanada, which I enjoy and I want more of. I only had like a couple that ripened last year. I had weed issues in that bed. Anyway, we're gonna try again. And I picked up, this is HMS Red Picnic Pepper, which I believe is supposed to be like a snacking pepper. And it's supposed to be really good. And then a Cornito Giallo pepper, which is a yellow pepper. It says golden yellow, highly uniform, half-size peppers with excellent sweetness and flavor. So because she likes to snack on them, I thought some snacking peppers would be in order. Then my oldest has just decided she really likes salsa. So I might actually look and see if I can find a jalapeno to grow as well. I haven't tried growing any like even slightly spicy ones before. I've always grown sweet, but I am thinking of grabbing a packet of jalapeno just so we can make delicious salsa with it. So go ahead and throw any salsa recipes that you like at me. That'd be good. Pumpkins. I have seeds for lots of varieties of pumpkins, and I love growing lots of different varieties, but we'll have to see what I can fit in the bed this year. This is one of the things is I'm hoping if I have a larger market garden space in the back, I will in future years have more room for pumpkins. Let me show you what I have, and then I'm definitely gonna be growing some of these, but maybe not all of them. So one of my absolute favorite is the Winter Luxury Pie Pumpkin. If I could only grow one, I would grow this because I love making pie with it. So it's also pretty. I will also grow the New England Pie Pumpkin. I only have like 1 or 2 seeds of this though. I did save some of my own, but pumpkin may be cross-pollinated. So I might come up with something really interesting with those. So I'll probably grow those as well. I also have this giant packet of Rouge Videtan pumpkins. They are like a Cinderella type pumpkin and they are like reddish. So I just find these absolutely gorgeous. Another favorite of mine is the Jarradale, which is this like teal color almost. It's like a blue-green. It's gorgeous as well. Now the rest of these, I'll probably decide if I want to plant some or all of them when it comes down to it closer to the spring. But I do have, let's see, I have a Long Island cheese. I have Baby Bear, which is supposed to be a smaller one. I have long pie pumpkin, which I don't know if I'll grow this one. I grew it last year. It confused my kids. They kept wanting to pick it because they thought it was a zucchini, but I feel like we should. I feel like we should try again. I did not have a great pumpkin year this past year, so let's knock on wood and hope this year is better. I have a cider jack pumpkin and a moonshine. I know the moonshine one is white. So yeah, we'll just see which one of those I grow. Probably not all of them. Now, non-pumpkin squash. So I have zucchini. This is the Coco Zell zucchini. And it's cool. It's kind of stripy. And this is the only really summer squash that I grow. So I enjoy making like zucchini muffins and stuff. We don't enjoy it as much on its own, but I'm still looking for more recipes to use it more. So if you have them, again, let me know. Okay, then I love spaghetti squash. So I have just this like normal spaghetti squash, and then I also have this orangetti spaghetti squash that I grew for the first time this past year, and I really like that. So it's just a more orange spaghetti squash is exactly what it sounds like. Both the outside and the inside is more of like a pretty orange color. So I liked both of those. I did feel like they were a little bit smaller than the normal ones, but I'm fine with that. And then I do enjoy the baby Blue Hubbard squash. So that is, I think, this past year I also grew a bunch of acorn squash, but we honestly don't eat it as much. So I mean, like my son likes like growing it. He likes how it looks, and we did use some for decoration, and I still have a bunch waiting to be eaten. So we should eat those, but also I just don't know if I'm going to grow them next year because they don't get eaten as much. Tomatoes are another category I have quite a few of. Let me start with my paste tomatoes because those are probably the most important as I like to make sauce. My Amish paste is my absolute favorite variety to grow, but I also will grow my San Marzano. You see that? And also I have an orange banana plum that are, I think they're a paste tomato, and they're like a yellow. So if you want to make like yellow sauce, that's good. Then the yellow ones tend to be milder. I've got these Principe Borghese, which are like the size of a cherry tomato, but they're really good for drying. And I did dry some this past year, and I need to do more of that. So there's that. Let's see. My Dr. Weich's, the doctor, the yellow one. I'll be growing that. I will be growing some Cherokee Purple. Then I have two new tomatoes this year, new to me. They are a German Johnson tomato, which is supposed to be on the pinker side. And it's a slicing tomato, I believe. It's supposed to be similar to Brandywine, but pinker. And then an Arctic Rose Dwarf tomato. This just, I mean, I saw the picture and I wanted to try it. I believe it's a smaller plant and a smaller tomato. It says 3 to 8 ounces. So I'm not 100% sure. We'll see when I'm planning on growing it, so then we'll see what it's like. And then I may grow the Sunrise Bumblebee and also the blueberries again, just to have some cherry tomatoes. But if I do, it'll probably just be one plant of each, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where we are on space and everything. I am also growing onions again this year. This past season in 2023 was my best onion season yet. We are actually still eating in February the onions that I grew. Some of them are starting to sprout, so I am starting to chop some and stick them, in the freezer. But I'm really happy with how that went. So I'm gonna be growing, I think they're all the same varieties again. I have New York Early. I have a Rosa di Milano red onion. These grew especially well for me. And then I also have a shallot. I have a Cousse de Poulet du Puteaux. I have a shallot. I really like these as well. These are lasting. None of them have started sprouting yet. They're delicious. I highly recommend shallots. They're like milder than onions. They're like slightly milder and sweeter than onions. They're just highly recommend. I also have some leeks. I have these giant Musselburgh leeks and some seeds I saved myself a couple years ago because I accidentally let mine go to flower, and they were gorgeous. And yeah, so we'll be doing some leeks as well. While I'm thinking about that, I also do have garlic already in the ground out there. I have several varieties, so but I don't remember off the top of my head what they are. So I'll have to show you those in the garden next time I do a tour. I did also order several variety of seed potatoes. Mine, it was a good potato year for me as well this past year. It's the most I've ever grown, so that was great. We're just finishing up the potatoes now that they are starting to sprout and get a little soft. So I think that's as long as I can manage to store them. And I'd like to bring in new seed potatoes at this point. If I needed to, I probably could stretch it and plant some of my own from last year, but I can at this point just order seed potatoes. So I did order several kinds, and again, I don't remember which kinds, so when I'm planting them or when we do a tour this year, I will share that then. I did find the seed packet for the Swiss chard, which is good. So I just have this rainbow Swiss chard. Last year, I grew them from seed, and then I identified the different colors because it is a mix, and I planted different colors at different corners of my pea trellises, and they came out, they were gorgeous and happy this past year. So I will be planting more chard. And then the last, but definitely not least, is ground cherry. And I like this Cossacks pineapple ground cherry. They're definitely a different taste, and some people don't like them. I love them. They're like low growing, mounding kind of shape. And then they get these little like yellow tomatoes almost, but with husks. So similar to tomatillos, but smaller. And yeah, they have a yellow husk on them, and it takes them a while. Like, you want to get them perfectly ripe. If they're underripe, if they're slightly green, then they're kind of bitter. But yeah, they're delicious. I did have enough to make a couple jars of ground cherry jam this year, which was very exciting. So I will definitely be growing more ground cherries. Not as much as this past year just because of space, but I will definitely be growing some more. I love eating them just straight out of the garden and also making jam with them. If you're enjoying this video, go ahead and click that like button. It actually does help me a lot. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I have been noting things down as we go in this on this little page here. Now, this is supposed to be attached in my garden journal, this side of a page, but I need to fix how it's attached because it's not holding super well. But I thought I would just lift it up and show you. Then I've just been marking where I'm going to put things with pencil. There's some things I made some question marks on. The cucumber I had to figure out. This past year I did have a couple with the runner beans on the branch structure. I'm not sure if I want to do that again, if that will be enough cucumbers. I might also stick them back here, do some stuff with that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna think about that a little more. The kale and cabbage and chard will probably be kind of dotted around. Like, they can also go, these are gonna be herb beds around the quince tree here. But for this year, we could also stick some veggies in there. I also am planning on putting flowers down here, but we could put some, cabbages are really pretty as well. So they could just go with the flowers. So I'm gonna think on it some more. I am gonna have to figure out what flowers I'm putting where. So yeah. Gonna think on it. I still have a couple months before I can plant it all up. So there we are. But I do hope you enjoyed seeing what fruit and vegetable seeds I plan on growing this year in my potager, and I will talk to you next time. Happy gardening, friends.